My POTS journey. Not for sure why I have, or maybe what triggered POTS in me, but here are some things that I do know. As an infant, I dealt with seizures, encephalitis, and high fevers. I have always had a faster heart rate. I remember telling my friends and family my resting heart rate, which would be around 100 beats per minute. When I was in my early 20s, I was living on my own in an apartment. I was going to college full-time and working a couple jobs. These were a daytime lab tech, a nighttime phlebotomist, and also a part-time EMT. I was living in a basement apartment, but I missed the signs of past water damage when I originally moved in. After a while of living there, my apartment did flood. Now, after it was all cleaned up is when I did notice previous flooding signs. The point of bringing this up is that I was probably exposed to mold spores, which is not healthy, and a trigger for POTS and more. So between working the night shift and being exposed to mold very much triggered my POTS. And that's besides other stresses I was dealing with at that time in my life. Main symptoms I can remember. I looked very pale. My heart rate had increased. I was very fatigued and weak that rest could not remedy. I could sleep and sleep and sleep, and it would still be there. My condition was getting worse, and I was getting weaker and more disabled. My mom brought me to the doctor appointment that I made. The doctor asked questions and ran tests. The main test I remember is she had me laid down and took my resting blood pressure and heart rate. Then she had me stand up and immediately took my vitals again. My heart rate had went up very high and blood pressure dropped. The doctor diagnosed me with POTS, which stands for postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. This is the first time I had even heard of this syndrome. She gave me tips and ideas how to help deal with this syndrome. Things like having Gatorade, increasing salt, staying hydrated, getting good rest, and so on. She said she could put me on a beta blocker, but she figured that would not work well. See, my heart rate increased because my blood pressure dropped. So to get the blood to where it needed to be, the body's response was to increase my heart rate. So her conclusion of that was that I could still try it if I wanted to, but she figured that yes, it would slow down my heart rate, but because blood flow would be slowing down, that I would probably faint, which wouldn't help anything. I am one that would rather try to find natural remedies versus to use medications anyways, so I chose not to try the beta blocker. Please also note that this syndrome was still a newer finding at the time I was diagnosed, so I am sure there are much better medication options now for people that would like to try medications. If you are dealing with this syndrome and want to know, please talk to your doctor. So there is no one thing that for sure causes POTS. All we can do is see what might have contributed to it. This is a start of me sharing my own personal journey of living with POTS with you. I hope you enjoyed, and please stay tuned for more. Thank you.